Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is getting extremely close to a death cross. So in just a moment, I'll be explaining exactly what that means for Bitcoin. And due to that, we are seeing extreme fear and a lot of money flowing into short positions. Even though the US dollar is falling to the downside right now, this is important to pay attention to. So I'll be covering all of that and more in this video. So definitely stick around to the end so that you don't miss out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. It's right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the daily time frame. And we've got two moving averages here. The green line is the 50-day simple moving average, and the red line is the 200-day simple moving average. And historically speaking, when we're looking at those two exact moving averages on the daily chart, they give us what's known as a golden cross and also what's known as a death cross, depending on which way those lines are crossing. If the shorter length moving average, so the 50-day moving average, is above the 200-day moving average, that technically means that we should be in a bullish trend because the recent price action is above the historic price action. But then when we see the shorter moving average, so the 50-day moving average, once again cross underneath the longer moving average, which is the 200-day moving average, technically speaking, that is supposed to mean that we are looking more bearish compared to bullish because the recent price action is below the older price action. And so that is the reasoning behind why a golden cross is meant to be bullish for the Bitcoin price and a death cross is meant to be bearish for the Bitcoin price. But keep in mind, because these are moving averages, that is a lagging indicator. And so especially over the past couple years, these golden crosses and death crosses have actually been very inaccurate. In fact, taking a look at the last death cross that we saw for Bitcoin, that was back in June 2021. And so technically speaking, in theory, that is meant to be bearish for the Bitcoin price. But if you're looking at when that actually happened, that death cross almost happened at the exact bottom for Bitcoin. So if you decided to sell Bitcoin at that previous death cross or short Bitcoin at that previous death cross, that was almost the worst possible time that you could have sold Bitcoin. And then looking at the following golden cross that happened in around the middle of the September correction, as you can see, we still saw some bearish price action in the coming weeks after we saw that golden cross, which was meant to be bullish for the Bitcoin price. So just to summarize this segment of the video so far, these golden crosses and death crosses aren't really that accurate because all they really do is just tell us what happened in the past, in previous price action, and they don't really tell us what is about to happen in the future. So in my personal Bitcoin strategy, I hold absolutely no weight to these death crosses and these golden crosses. Now zooming into the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, and of course we've still got that bullish divergence that I've been talking about over the past few days now on the channel, and technically speaking this is still playing out. But considering this bullish divergence is only on the 4-hour time frame, it is almost coming to its end because as you can see, the 4-hour RSI is starting to get closer towards overbought territories. Now we're not there just yet, but all I'm saying is we're probably getting pretty close to this bullish divergence starting to wear off. But with that being said, heading over to the 12-hour time frame for Bitcoin, and we still have this much larger bullish divergence as you can see, and this bullish divergence on the other hand is still far from wearing off. In fact, this bullish divergence on the 12-hour chart strongly reminds me of the bullish divergence on the 12-hour chart that we saw back in the middle of 2021. And what came next for Bitcoin back then was basically an immediate bounce to the upside followed by a little bit of sideways price action and then one more dip to the downside, which we didn't actually break below this low just here in the middle of all of that price range. And then not long after that, which was around 1 month after we completed that bullish divergence, that was when Bitcoin finally entered into the recovery back to the upside. Now, it's important to mention that I am not saying we're going to see the exact same thing play out again. For example, we might not even play out that next move to the downside, or we might even see another dip to the downside that we didn't end up seeing last time before we then enter the recovery. But a bullish divergence is not meant to tell us exactly every single dip and every single pump that's about to come next. But what it does tell us is the general direction that we should be heading over the next few weeks, possibly over the next few months. And so that is why my personal Bitcoin strategy is to continue to dollar cost average into Bitcoin in anticipation of a recovery coming sometime soon, possibly within the next few weeks or so. And the subscribers that have been watching some of my other Bitcoin updates would already know about this chart. But for any of the new viewers on the channel, basically Bitcoin has seen just a standard correction down towards the golden pocket here on the logarithmic settings. And this golden pocket is coming in at around 40,000 give or take. And the bottom of the golden pocket is coming in at around 39,500, which was the September low. And so far we have seen a perfect bounce from that exact level. Also, don't forget that we are still playing out this massive fractal between the current price action and this previous price action that we saw back in the middle of 2021. I'm not going to go too much further into this chart in this video because I have been talking about this chart almost every single day for quite a while now on the channel. So if you are new to the channel and you want a further explanation on this chart, definitely make sure you're checking out some of my other Bitcoin update videos here on the channel. And right now, we are still still seeing more and more Bitcoin short positions open up. For any of the beginners out there, this just means more and more people are flipping bearish on Bitcoin and betting money on the price going to the downside. And this is exactly what we need to be seeing for a short squeeze to possibly play out. We need to have a lot of short positions active in the market so that we can eventually squeeze out all of those short positions. And that brings us to the Bitcoin estimated leverage ratio, which is right now still sitting at record highs. We are yet to see the liquidation event. We are yet to see the short squeeze due to the fact that there's still a lot of leverage. There's still a lot of open interest flowing around in the markets right now that needs to be repaid at some point. And when that day comes, which it will happen eventually, we will see this purple line just here, the estimated leverage ratio, drop to the downside like all of these other liquidation events we've seen time and time again. And based on a number of different factors that I have been talking about recently on the channel, it is simply more likely that the next liquidation event, the next major squeeze in the market, is going to be in the form of a short squeeze rather than a long squeeze. Of course, nothing in these markets is guaranteed, so keep that in mind. And once again, for anyone that's new to the channel, definitely check out some of my other recent update videos, because in those videos, I explain all of the reasons why it is simply more likely we're approaching a short squeeze. And now looking at the US dollar currency index, which goes by the ticker DXY, and this is on the daily time frame. And pretty much ever since the release of the consumer price index data for December, which I was talking about in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, that newly released data has of course sent the US dollar to the downside due to the fact that the official inflation rate of the US dollar has risen from 6.8% to now 7%. And for anyone that understands economics, you'll know that a higher inflation rate usually means the underlying currency is devaluing. So that is precisely what's happening right here. And also because we did break below this important line and flip it into resistance yet again. So when we were seeing that around a week ago, that was technically a bearish signal. And I was talking about this a week ago on the channel, saying that a possible move to the downside is actually quite likely if we get rejected right here. And what does this mean for Bitcoin? Well, believe it or not, this is bullish for Bitcoin against the US dollar, because obviously if you have Bitcoin varied against the US dollar, if the US dollar is falling to the downside, then that creates the effect of Bitcoin rising against the US dollar. So essentially this chart and the Bitcoin chart are inversely correlated, meaning that if this chart moves to the upside, that technically is a bearish signal for Bitcoin, as we saw in the middle of November when Bitcoin was topping out. But then the last time this chart was bearish, that was back during October. And obviously you know what happened in October. That was during this time period right here, one of Bitcoin's most bullish time periods over the past 1 year. So with the US dollar currency index moving to the downside, this is setting up Bitcoin for a recovery sometime soon. And if you want to stay up to date in the crypto markets at all times by receiving these extra Bitcoin updates throughout the day, definitely make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And of course, all of this extra content is completely for free. If you made it this far in the video, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you're serious about making more money in the crypto markets. And as always, I appreciate all of your support in the channel at the moment. I can't thank you enough, but that is everything that I have to say for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.